everybody, Lisa here from Prims on Greenway, and today is Thursday, January 26th, and this is my Flosstube number 39. Last time I was here was just before Christmas, and look, we're almost at the end of January. Time certainly does go quickly, that's for sure, particularly if you're busy stitching and creating, and I've been doing a ton of that. First, I want to say thank you for all of you who are joining me today. I love that you take the time to sit down and chat. Appreciate all the comments, both here and on Instagram. It really is inspiring to see what you're doing and then to get the feedback on what I'm doing. It really just keeps the creative juices flowing, and I appreciate it tremendously. I'm going to start with what's next to me. I don't know if anybody remembers this from last year, but I had made a paper tree. It was based on a pattern of a woolly tree. I had taken a class at Old Tattered Flagon a couple years ago, and I made it out of newspaper. You might notice that between last year and this year is that the paper has yellowed. Now, I did not have it in front of a window. Actually, it was in my stitchy room, which only has two very small windows, so it doesn't get much light. And it naturally kind of aged the paper, and it's a little on the yellow side, which I love. Some people probably would hate that, but I actually love it. I think it's wonderful. So so here's my paper tree back because I have it all decked out for Valentine's Day, which is really only 2 weeks from now. So yeah, these things, I'll be honest, I made all these last year. I made this cute little pin pillow. I want to show you this a little bit closer because it is super cute with some beading on the edge. And this is actually a little pocket in there. And of course, a little pin and little charm there. So this was a wool project that I had made last year. And I just kind of set it there at the top of the tree. There we go. And then one of the other things I wanted to show you is a lot of people last year were into covered buttons. I took some covered buttons and I put them on either end of a spool with a little string, and that makes an awesome little ornament. Certainly at Christmas time, you could cover with Christmas fabric and put them on your Christmas tree. But this was something I had thought of last year, so I just wanted to point those couple things out. And in addition to that, I have a little setup over here that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. So stay tuned. All right. Second thing I wanted to just mention, because a couple people asked me, they asked if my mother-in-law liked the strawberries. She loved them. She loved them. If you remember, I did, myself and my 3 sister-in-laws did a set of 4 strawberries, and we put the initials of her maternal line, as well as their year of births on there. And she really enjoyed it. So it was a hit. All right, so next thing I want to jump into is my FFOs. The first FFO has a bit of a story behind it. About a month and a half ago, my friend Michelle from Under the Woolen Willow contacted me, and she had introduced me last year to Word of the Year. My word last year was journey, and that was basically because, you know, my kids were seniors and they were going off to college and all that, so I knew I'd have a journey, and I certainly did. It was fun, but I certainly did. And I'll be honest, throughout the year, she had made me one of her skinny pillows that said journey on it, which I kept on my crafty desk, and frequently, I'm not going to say daily, but almost daily, I would look at it, I'd think of her, and then I would think of the reason I chose that word and how it played out in my life. So this year, I wanted to think of something very personal, and that is simplicity. I really am going to try very hard to simplify, not just stuff. I always feel like I have too much stuff. You know how it is when you accumulate things in your home over years. I'd love to do some clean out. Have I started? No. But it's in my mind. It's in my mind. So that's one thing. But also, you know, I want to simplify other areas of my life. Simplify my diet, taking out lots of processed foods, high-fat foods, etc. I'd like to also simplify up here. You know, sometimes myself, I'm only speaking for myself, I allow little things to stress me out. I think to myself, flush those out of there. Simplify your thoughts. Just concentrate on what's important. And I think that would reduce a lot of stress. And so I'm going to give it a try. Now, along that line, Michelle has introduced me to the fact that there are some crafters out there who have programs where they give you prompts to make things out of your word. And the purpose of that throughout the year is to keep that word in the forefront of your mind and different ways you can apply that word. Now, I said to her, I said, hey, Michelle, we're both, smart people. Let's go ahead and create our own prompts. And she was all about it. I was so excited. So I don't know if you noticed on my Instagram, but about a week or so ago, both Michelle and I posted about our Word of the Year journey and the fact that the first of every month, we're going to be posting a prompt. This will be coming up. Your first one will be coming up on February 1st. Basically, it's just a little suggestion to make a little something utilizing your word so that you can set it out, see it, and again, remind you why you chose that word. To me, it's almost like a New Year's resolution. You know how you make them after a week you've forgotten about them? Well, with this, it kind of keeps it rolling through the year. So please, keep your eyes peeled on our Instagram on February 1st because we will be posting the first prompt. Does it have to be a stitchy item? No, could be paper crafting, could be coloring, could be whatever you want to make it because it's going to be your project. We're just going to give a little suggestion on something to do and then you run with it and do whatever you want. We will be creating a hashtag so everybody can see each other's projects. I'm hoping also on my Flosstubes to post some pictures of people's projects, which I'll ask their permission first. Obviously, Michelle and I are going to be posting our projects. So keep your eyes peeled. I think it's going to be kind of fun. I've never done anything like this before, so it's all brand new. Hey, let's take a walk on the wild side and do something different. Now, last year, Michelle also had offered to make me one of her skinny pillows with my word journey on it. This year, I offered to make her a pillow. So I have it right here. It is fully finished. I haven't given it to her yet because I'll be seeing her on February 5th, which is maybe a week from now or so, week and a half. She knows I'm going to show it on here. She hasn't seen it quite yet. But her word this year is balance. And so I decided to make a wool pillow with the word balance. And this was my creation, my design. So here it is, balance. And on the bottom, I have a little flower. The flower idea did come from one of Maggie's books. These little white flowers are typical of Maggie. And here are the letters I created. Obviously, they're B-A-L-A-N-C-E. So they're kind of juggled a little bit, I think, to emphasize the point that she wants to create some balance. So she needs to take this juggle and straighten it out. So I'm hoping she enjoys it. On the back, I did put some quilting cotton on the back. I think I'd gotten this quilting cotton at Country Treasures in Brockport, New York. They have a ton of repro fabrics. In fact, their entire shop is repro fabrics. I'm going to get back on that subject in a few minutes, but here we are. Here is the pillow I created for her. I'm going to gift it to her in just a couple weeks. So please join us. Please join us. Again, look on February 1st on both of our Instagrams. We're going to have it posted and we're going to get started on our first project. So woohoo! Something new, something that's exciting. Second thing, just while we're on the topic of Michelle of Under the Woolen Willow, she is doing an awesome club for her suffragette wool piece. And I believe it's a block of the month type club. And she had asked me if I would create a paper craft for it. So I just wanted to show you, I have made these before, but I just wanted to show you what I created. And here's a bunch of them. And let me just grab one so you can see it up close and personal. This is a Prim needle case. There is a tutorial out there regarding this. This tutorial was made by Audrey Stitchy Witch 42. If you go to her Flosstube and you scroll back, I don't remember. I'm going to say it was within the past year, I think. And it will be entitled Toilet Paper Roll Needle Cases or something along that line. I don't exactly remember, but it's a step-by-step, okay? Step-by-step. What I did with mine is I covered mine with paper that I had onion skin dyed, and then used scrapbooking paper to make the red, white, and blue and the star, and then I inked it up. Inside, well, first off, I turned it here, and I also put this here because I thought somebody, if they wanted, we could personalize that and put their names on. Then what I did is, on the inside, this is where your needles could go. On the back, this is batting, and your needles can stick into the batting. And then on the front, I just did a cute stripey pinstripe type print. And then, of course, I always have to embellish with buttons. I love buttons. I should have named myself like Button Stitcher or something because I love buttons. But I used a tiny little clothespin. And let me set this down for a quick second because I wanted to show you that you can purchase these tiny little clothespins at Walmart in the crafting section. They come in handy for a lot of things, and they're probably, I'm gonna say, half the size of like a regular clothespin. So they're really cute, and you can get those at Walmart. And obviously I glued a stack of buttons to it like that. And then I also made a little red counting pin to stick in there. And then this goes in the little sleeve. So again, when I see Michelle on the 5th, I'm going to give her these to put in her Block of the Month quilty kits. So another fun project. As I said, step-by-step tutorial is out there if anybody's interested in making these. Again, you're going to do your own design. You know, she kind of shows you just how to make the raw materials for it, and then you do your thing with it. So there you go. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun to make these, and hopefully her customers like them. So there you go. The other thing I wanted to point out, just because a lot of people who are new to kind of paper crafts, in fact, when I was new to paper crafts, one of the questions I had is, well, what kind of glue do you use? A lot of times I use just, you know, the cheesy white glue, and it never holds and it bubbles up and this, that, and the other thing. One of the things, one of the types of glues I like to use is something called Fabri-Tac. It's kind of like I think they call it like a silicone glue. The reason I like it is when you put it on, you do have a few minutes to move things around a little bit. It doesn't immediately stick. But then if you just give it a few more minutes, it's down. It's down. I've not had any problems with bubbling. It dries clear. It is kind of stringy because it's a silicone glue, so you have to be careful. It will create strings almost like a hot glue. I would say it's similar to a hot glue in cold form. This can also be purchased at Walmart as well as, I believe, Michael's and Joann's. I think I've only ever bought mine at Walmart. You can get it on Amazon too. It's made by Beacon. If you can see up there, it says Beacon. So just a little tip if anybody, you know, wants to try some paper crafts and not be frustrated with glue. There you go. Okay. One more thing on the topic of Michelle that I don't want to forget about is that she had gifted me for my birthday a beautiful needle case, and I had never shown it, and I realized I had not shown it, and I wanted to show you guys. So let me look how cute this is. I'm just putting the bow on there so you can see it how cute it is when the bow is tied. Look at how cute this is. I believe this is an embroidery project that she used some sort of crayon or coloring to put some color on it. I thought that was just adorable. This fabric must be some sort of, maybe an upholstery fabric or something like that. It is so beautiful. I love yellow and reds, so this is right up my alley. Look at her gorgeous embroidery. And she puts this beautiful ribbon on, and then you open this up and look, we got a little heart, of course, with some buttons, wool applique on there, and some gorgeous, gorgeous wool here that you can put your needles on. I absolutely love this. And look at in here. This is, no, I thought, oh yeah, it is a pocket. Here's a little pocket here in the back. Isn't that amazing? Amazing. Thank you, Michelle. I love it. She is a creative soul. Love it, love it, love it. So I had to share that. Because you know what? Sometimes it inspires somebody else to make something like that, you know? So I like to pass on the inspiration. Okay, what's next on my list? I'm sorry I have a list, but I have to, it's no other way I can keep track of everything. Okay, next topic has to do, just very briefly, with a little, I'm dipping my toes in quilting. Now, a couple years ago, I did make my first quilt. I just had an old quilting book and I put one together. And it came out nice, don't get me wrong, but I made a lot of mistakes. And so I said to myself, I want to take a beginner quilt class to get all the tips and tricks so I have things like doing things correctly. So quilting is, it's precise. I mean, you have to cut correctly, you have to sew correctly in order for it to come together. It's kind of like a puzzle, you know, and if it doesn't come together, it's wonky and this, that, and the other thing. So I decided to take a quilting class. It's a series of 3 classes. We're making a churn dash, a 4-block churn dash small quilt. I'm not going to call it a mini quilt. It's probably like lap size. And so I had my first class last Saturday. I'll have my second one in just a couple days. And in the first class, we talked about rotary cutting and rulers, and we made the pieces, you know, we cut them out and sewed together the pieces for each of the blocks. So first off, I want to say is I chose some really beautiful French general fabric. Woohoo! Let me show you the pieces I haven't cut into yet. I don't know the name of the line. It's a French name. I would never be able to pronounce it anyway. But let me at least show you the fabrics. Look at how gorgeous this is. I know, you're drooling, aren't you? Look at this one. Look at this one. Woohoo! That is amazing. And this is going to be the backing. Oh, I just love that. Oh, I just love it. It's kind of like, it's a gray, but almost a tannish gray. Oh my gosh, that just floats my boat big time. So it's a total of 5 fabrics. So here's 3 of them. And here is the block. It's not sewn together. It's not sewn together, but here is the block. So the other fabrics are that kind of rich red and kind of a white with kind of that tannish grayish floral. And this apparently is called a churn dash. It's a new term to me. I'm not a quilter. If anybody knows the origins of the word churn dash, you quilters out there, I would love to hear it. I would absolutely love to hear it. Now, another question I have is that we did these, I think they're called half square triangles, I believe. We did these the traditional way, where you make a line and then you sew a 1/4 inch on each side of the line and, excuse me, sorry about that, then you cut it. I have briefly seen murmurings on Fat Quarter Shop about some kind of paper roll that you can make these out of. I asked the teacher, but she had never used the paper. So my question as a new quilter is, what's the advantage of using a paper as opposed to just doing it the traditional way? Is the paper more precise? Is it easier? Please let me know. I want to know all the tips and tricks. You know, it's almost like cross-stitching. I've been cross-stitching for, you know, I don't know, 40 years or something. So you get to know all the tips and tricks, not to say I'm an expert, but I know there's people out there who've been quilting for 40 years. So my question is, using that roll of paper type thing to make these versus just making them traditionally, which is better, or what's the advantage, disadvantages? Please let me know. I would so appreciate it. So appreciate it. A couple things that I kind of learned in talking about measuring, I learned that I love these rulers, and I'll tell you why. This is the first time I've ever seen them. They're called creative grids. I didn't have the size. I do have a couple like 2 or 3 quilting rulers. I didn't have one of this size. So, and I used it a lot in the class, cutting the fabric and stuff, and I loved it. One of the things I love about this is on the back, it's got these little circles that grip your fabric, and they're all over the place. So when you set it down, one of the big problems I had with cutting is I would set down my ruler, and even though I'm holding it and I would go, it would slide. And that would drive me absolutely wild. Drive me wild. So due to the fact that I didn't have this size, I said, I'm going with the Creative Grids. And of course they make this in all sizes and shapes and all that jazz. But I'm just saying, if anybody out there is new to quilting, or maybe not even quilting, they just want a good ruler to cut fabric, maybe they want to do smalls or something like that. And you might not need a big one like this, but I would suggest, my recommendation is Creative Grids. Anyway, just throwing that out there. All right, and maybe there's other brands that have those things on the back. I don't even know. Remember, I'm brand new. I'm brand new. The other thing, which I'm going to buy this Saturday, is that the lady who owns the shop told me, you know, again, about being precise with your 1/4 inch, which I do have a 1/4 inch foot on my machine. However, she said it doesn't always sew a 1/4 inch and you have to check it. And there are various ways to check it, but she has, and I'm going to purchase one. It's really small. It's like a little piece of plastic. I'll show it next time. And it has little holes for 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch that you can slide under your needle, and you can lower the needle to be sure it's landing in the 1/4 inch spot. On my machine, it wasn't landing there. We had to move the needle over. You press this little button and it moves the needle over until it got to the 1/4 inch. That could have been one of the reasons that a lot of my quilt blocks were off last time. Another tip, another trick. So I'm going to get one of those. I'll definitely show it next time, and we'll see if that helps or not. So along that line, I got 2 things along that line. One thing is, I got all jazzed up about quilting. And so I got out my quilting books. Do I have it here? Yes, I do. I've bought quilting books. Number one, you know I collect all the Blackbird. So do I have all the Blackbird quilting books? No, I don't, but I have a bunch. I'm not yet ready to jump. Most of theirs, not all, but a lot of theirs is applique. I'm not quite ready to make that leap, but that might be coming down the line. What I really, really want to do is make a mini quilt. Okay, now I'm on 3 different tangents here, but my good friend Carol Saltbox Stitcher sent me a little gift. It's over there. I'm going to show you that in a minute. That was part of my inspiration. And the second part of my inspiration is I love the look of these tiny little quilts. So I had the book. I had bought it off one of those used book websites, a Temecula, returning to Temecula from the Temecula Quilt Company. It says Scrappy Quilts with a Nod to the Past. And I was looking through it saying, what's going to be an easy quilt in here? Maybe it's not so easy. But this is the one I picked. It's called Henry's Half Square Triangles. And I just thought it was the cutest little thing since sliced bread. Well, little did I know that doing these small little squares is a little bit challenging. It's a little bit challenging. So first off, cutting the 2.5 inch squares, which I know you can buy the mini charms. I actually ended up going with a regular size charm pack just because I got more out of it and it got more variety. I ended up choosing, unfortunately, this is going back to the Repro Fabrics. The quilt shop that I'm going to for these classes is in Utica, New York, and it's, I don't know, maybe a half an hour from my house, maybe a little less. And they used to carry some reproduction fabrics, and they've way cut back. It's mostly brights. The lady who owns it basically said, because most of her customers like brights. But they do have Kansas City Troubles, which I do enjoy their fabrics. They currently had a line called Daffodils and Dragonflies. Daffodils and Dragonflies. So for this pattern, I bought a charm pack, which are 5 inch squares. So obviously I had to cut the squares down. like this way and this way to make the 2.5-inch squares. Here are some, why don't I show you some of the, these are just some of the patterns in the line. They are very cute. They're on the darker side, which tends to be a little bit more of the reproductions. I don't know if they're officially considered a reproduction fabric or not. Again, I'm new to all this, so I don't know 100%, but it is a very cute line. There are some creams in here. Here's some creams, and there's actually some cheddars in here. So I did have to buy a little bit of yardage, like 1/3 of a yard, I think. Here's a cheddar, and then this is going to be the backing, like that. So on my own, I thought I'd delve into this. Well, tips and tricks I do need. First off, I didn't really have too much of a hard time in making the half square triangles. The only thing is, the lady who was teaching our class, the pattern we're using, I think, is a pattern she made up. And the way she did it is she created the pattern so your half square triangles came out a little bigger than you wanted them to be. So you actually used a smaller square and cut them down, which I like that whole idea. I think that's a great idea, because then you're not going to run short. You know, you're always going to have more and you can just cut it back. Well, when I made these come out exactly to 2 inches, which mine all did come out to 2 inches. So I guess I did a good job with the sewing and the cutting, but that makes me a little nervous. So one question would be, how do you alter a pattern to make the squares come out slightly bigger? So if they originally call for 2.5-inch squares, do you just like add an inch and say, okay, I'm going to make 3.5-inch squares and then just cut it back? Just wanted to throw that out there. Second thing, when you start to string these together, yeah. I thought I was sewing correctly. A couple times as you're feeding this through the machine, it would get caught up in the holes and where the feed dogs come up, whatever those little holes are. Is there a tip or trick for that? And I don't have well, here's kind of a line of them, and then I put a line together. So the line of them, it wasn't too bad. I mean, I don't think if I just showed you one line, it's hard to see because I've sewn them together, but the line didn't come out too bad. But then when I made another line and sewed it on there, you can see that they're not lining up. I mean, that's way off. That's way off. And when I put them together, I tried to do that method where it's supposed to like fall into each other, but obviously that didn't work so much. Then the last thing is the bulk. This is so bulky because you have excess fabric when you made your half square triangles, then you have fabric when you sewed them together, and then you have this huge piece of fabric here. And the other thing, when you're feeding this through to make this, it could barely get over these big, huge humps. Okay, there's gotta be some tips and tricks on this one. There's gotta be. So please, please tell me any kind of tips and tricks you can tell me. Now, here's a question. I have seen, I think it's Bumble Stitches, do a tutorial for making like project bags that are patchwork. Now, obviously they're not half square triangles, they're just full squares. And my question is, well, the way she does it is she puts the squares on a piece of interfacing, a lightweight interfacing, not glues them down, irons them down so they glue on there. And then she folds them and sews this way and this way. I gave that a try because I made something with it. And that works awesome. They come out perfectly. Could you do that same thing with a half square triangle? Question to all you quilters. Could you do that? And to reduce bulk, after I sew this, could I then cut down this 1/4 inch a little bit so that it's not so bulky? Or could I cut it down and sew it open so it's flatter? Okay. I did hear from my friend Mona via Instagram, who did tell me both of those things are done in the quilting world. But again, just asking, is there any other tips or tricks? Because I really want to do this little quilt. Now, these blocks, to be honest with you, were not the blocks I chose for the quilt because I knew I was going to do something wrong. So these were kind of the blocks I had set aside as not my favorites. So I thought I'd just kind of give them a try to see if I could do it. And I'm glad I used these blocks and not the blocks that I chose actually for the quilt. So, so these are kind of testy blocks. So at least I had enough sense to do that. Obviously they can be taken down and taken apart and redone. As I said, I think the half square triangles are fine. Really the problem came when I was sewing the 2 rows together was my biggest problem, and the bulk, it's just way too bulky. So they still can be altered. I haven't cut anything or done anything to them. I can take them apart, but I appreciate your help with that, because I do want to make one of these cute little quilts, and I have several books of these little quilts. So okay, so that's that. So I mentioned that I used the regular 2.5 inch squares that I cut out of these fabrics to make something, and I posted it on Instagram yesterday. Yep, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to make a patchwork strawberry? I've done velvet strawberries, I have done vintage fabric strawberries, and now I said, how about a patchwork strawberry? So I used Bumble Stitch's video. I ironed down the 2.5 inch squares. I folded one way, sewed, folded the other way, sewed, and it came out great. Except that on hand here in my craft room, the interfacing I had probably was a medium weight. It's too heavy. I did it. Okay, I stumbled through it and I did it because I was determined. But I need to get some like featherweight interfacing is what I need to get. I'm sure they must make, Pellon must make it. So next time I'm at the store, on my list is featherweight interfacing. In fact, maybe when I go to my quilt shop on Saturday, I could buy just a little bit of it. Because honestly, I would like to make more of these strawberries. I'm thinking about picking up a, whatever it's called, mini charm pack, baby pack, I don't know, whatever. The 2.5 inch squares for the French General fabric and making some French General patchwork strawberries. That would be awesome. So this is what I came up with. I think the patchwork came out absolutely perfect. It's all lined up. So doing that method really works. And then basically I took the panel and I cut it out for a strawberry. I put a strawberry top on it. And instead of putting like a wool, I could do a rolled wool stem. You could put a branch in there. Some people don't even do a stem. They do a bunch of ribbons, which I've done before. There's many ways you can do the top of a strawberry. I happen to have this kind of maroonish pin that matched the color of the fabric. And I said, oh, I'm just going to stick that in there. Isn't that cute? So lots of ways to do these, but okay, girls. Even the back lined up. I have to say, this tutorial is really, really good for making this patchwork. I mean, it really, you can see it just looks beautiful. Looks beautiful. Even along the seam, you could definitely do some herringbone stitch. All of that. I mean, so many options, but here it is. Here it is. And so again, throwing out some inspiration, all you quilters out there. How about a patchwork strawberry? Woohoo! I love it. Hey, you could put charms and tags and you could just go to town with these babies, couldn't ya? Yeah, I love it. I love it. I tend to fill my strawberries with, crushed walnut shells. In the past, I've bought them at local big box pet shops. There's a couple in our area. PetSmart is one of them, and Petco or something like that. nobody had any. So I ended up ordering it on Amazon. So I thought I'd just show you if anybody's interested. It's a big bag. It's a 10-quart bag. And I got it on Amazon. It's called Desert Blend by Zilla. And so here it is. It's a big bag, but I go through it. My other one lasted me a couple years, but we'll see how much this goes. I'm crafting a lot more than I did back then. I don't generally like use it right out of the bag. I tend to put it in canning jars, and then I use it out of the canning jar. A lot of times using a funnel is helpful in smaller projects. For this type of project, just another tip or trick for you guys out there, for this type of project, I fill it up, you know, almost at the top, and then at the very top, I just put some batting in there to hold it in there while you're trying to cinch the top, because otherwise then they're spilling all over the place. So if you put the batting in, kind of holds it in there for you so it's not spilling everywhere, and you can cinch the top. So just another tip, just another tip. So patchwork strawberries, girls, go to town, go to town. Okay, what's next? What's next? Another FFO I did and posted on my Instagram was a pattern from Simple Vintage by Blackbird Designs, and it was their pear. So we're all about fruit, aren't we? Strawberries to pears. I had to make one of those. In fact, I didn't make one, I made two. And that's what's over here. That is what's over here. I'm just gonna kind of move this out here so you can see the little pears on the little plate. And there they are. Aren't they cute as buttons? And sure enough, for the tops of these, I also used my button pins. One of them is, I have a tutorial on my Instagram on how to make this one. Let me bring it a little bit closer. It's covered in paper. And there it is. There's the bottom. Cute as can be. And this one is just two buttons, or no, two buttons stacked on the back of a quilting pin. Easy as can be. Again, using that Fabri-Tac glue, and you guys are all set. So here we are, a pair of pears. Enjoyed making those. Underneath is what I need to show you. Part of my inspiration here. Carol sent me this gorgeous, look at this mini quilt. Is this not gorgeous or what? Now, how did she get all of those to line up so perfectly? Huh, Carol? And it doesn't feel bulky at all. It doesn't feel bulky at all. I mean, there's gotta be a tip or trick out there. Carol, you need to let me know, because this doesn't feel bulky at all compared to, I put it away already. Compared to that one that I did that only has 2 rows, that feels like it's, bulky as heck. There's no bulk to this. Look at, there's no bulk. Yeah, where's all the seams? Carol, gotta let me know, girl. But it's gorgeous. Thank you so much, Carol. It's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, girls, what's next? Oh, one more thing I made. One more FFO. I don't want to forget about it. My last FFO, here it is. This year, I think I mentioned to you last time, this was going to be my first time using Book of Days. I love it so far. And I had in my little mind, back in, I don't know, November or so, that I not only wanted to use the Book of Days, but I wanted to create a cover for my Book of Days. And so I have been hoarding this piece of red linen probably for well over a year, maybe 2 years. It was a piece of linen that I had purchased from Old Tattered Flag. I don't think it was originally meant for stitching. It's a little bit of a rougher linen, but you could stitch on it. But I loved the color. It was grungy. And I said, okay, this is a special project. I'm going to be using this book all year. I'm getting out the red linen. And so I did. I thumbed through all my wool applique books. I found a pattern that I liked. It was from a Maggie Bononomy book. Of course, I did not bring the book with me, but I think I might have posted it. I think I posted the book on my Instagram. And if you want to know, you can always just leave a comment. So I did a wool applique on the front, and then on the inside cover, I did a red fabric. Don't ask me what line it was from. It was something I had bought at Tiger Lily Quilts in Utica, New York. They don't have it anymore. Don't know what the line was. I think it was a reproduction. And so I made the cover for my book. So this is my other FFO. Oh, I always should, I always like to put the bows on so you can see it with the bows. I also used some, I used some bias tape that I bought at Joann Fabrics on sale, buy 3, get 3 free. It was a cream color, and my husband had some leftover coffee, so I let the tape soak in the coffee for about 3-4 days before I got back to it. And so it's a coffee stained tape, and here it is. Here is my little book. This is, if you can see, this is red linen. This is wool. It's a brownish color. This is the pattern from Maggie Bononomy. And there's a little greenish ribbon right here on the front of that. And then here's my coffee stained ribbon. On the back, I put a big old button right over here to kind of help hold down the ribbon and kind of camouflage where I attach the ribbon. I love this. Isn't this awesome? This grungy red linen. I did send a message to Julie at Tattered Flag and asked her if she was going to dye some more of this because she didn't have any on her website. She said she was thinking about it, so I'm hoping she does. I just love this color. I think it's awesome. I'm not sure I'd ever stitch on it, but for projects, yeah, it's awesome for projects. So there's the cover. So you open it up, and ta-da! There's the Book of Days. There's the inside fabric, which I thought matched perfectly. Of course, you know, now I can't find this fabric. Maybe if I go to Country Treasures, maybe they'd still have some. I don't know the line. If anybody knows the line of this fabric, please let me know. You quilters out there, you probably know the line of this fabric, because if I can get some more, I'm gonna. I really like it. Of course, when I bought it, I bought like a half a yard. You know, what was I thinking? I should have bought like 3 yards of it. So here's my Book of Days. And if you all remember last time, which is a segue into my FOs, last time I said this year, my goal was to do the 12 Abecedarian projects in the series, along with Carol Selpbach Stitcher. So I colored, I don't know if people probably have done this already. They probably already had this idea. This little picture on the front, I colored with colored pencils. So get out your colored pencils, girls. And I underlined things and all that, put some stickers in, and I put 2023, the year of the Abecedarian. So there it is. Colored the picture, 2023, the year of the Abecedarian. And then, of course, I put my initials, LK, put Lisa here, and there we go. Did lots of underlining with pencils and all that jazz. So there's the front. And then, of course, taking a line out of Brenda and Laura's book, I stickered it up and used all sorts of little colored markers. Oh, I should have shown you the markers. I don't have them here. They're little minis that have a fine tip so you can write really nicely with them. I bought them at Five Below. I think those stores are all over the country, Five Below. There was a pack of them. I think you got 8 or 10 of different colors. And I think it was $2. So they're very fine tip. I would highly recommend them. And here's my book so far. Look at all those stickers. Woohoo! Woohoo! And I'll go up close so you can kind of see how the markers write. They're very fine markers. And so they're awesome for writing. They're very clear. I really love them. So feel free to go to Five Below and get a pack of these little markers. Because I love them. For $2, you cannot go wrong, and you get a whole bunch of colors. So there we are, people. And okay, where did I get these stickers from? I got this, just to let you know, Barnes & Noble every year, the day after Christmas, they have 50% off hardcover books. And so, boom. I bought, I have one other of these. Last year I bought it. It's birds and bees kind of thing. But for January, they all came out of Imaginarium. But through the year, I'll be using the birds and bees. And then next day after Christmas, I'll get another one for half price. So that's where these stickers came out of. And I have to say, I've never used this book before, but I really get a charge out of picking a sticker and writing in what I've done for the day. And this has been super fun type thing. And there in the back, obviously, we have this cover in the back. And I might, I've been thinking, I don't know for sure. I could definitely make another book and add it in here if I wanted more pages. I haven't quite done that yet, or whether I'm going to need that or not. We'll see how the year progresses. If I feel I want a separate book for other listing, maybe finishes or something like that, we'll see. Oh, I probably shouldn't close this because I'm going to use it to show you what I've done this month. So I tried doing a rotation. I'm not sure I'm a rotation girl, but what I tried, this came from Becky Socks for Mom. I think this is kind of a variation on her rotation. I tried doing 5 days on my Abecedarian, then 4 days on my Hands Across the Sea sampler, 3 days on wool, 2 days on my red thread, and then repeat. And that would get you to 28 days, and then the last few days are free to do whatever you wanted. Now, with the red thread, I did have a goal of doing 1 red thread for the day ahead. So in the morning, I would try to do 1 red thread on my red sampler. For the things that were on the rotation, like the 5 days on the Abecedarian series, for that, I said at least 30 minutes. So I didn't kind of overdo it because I do have limited time. And the first 2 weeks, I was pretty much able to stick to it, but then it went off the rails the second 2 weeks. And I'll tell you why. Because I want to finish my stuff. The Abecedarian was really coming along, so I just wanted to finish it. Same with my red sampler. So I finished both of them, but I didn't march through with the rotation. We'll see what I do in February. I'm not sure I'm a rotation girl, but at least I gave it a try, right? Okay. If somebody else has another idea out there, I'm always open to ideas to give a try too. All right, so where am I with my Abecedarian? Now, I did not march through starting with number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I looked them over and I said, which one draws me in for January? And the one that drew me in is called My Friend's House. And the reason I wanted to do that is because something fell here on the floor. Sorry about that, guys. I so value my stitchy friends, and y'all know one of my best stitchy friends is Gail. And I thought to myself, on the sampler, there's a spot to put your bestie's initials on there. And so I said, this is the one I'm doing first. This is the one I'm doing first. So here's the chart. Oh, I have it in plastic, right? Let's take it out so you can kind of see it. Shouldn't be too crunchy. So it's called My Friend's House. Here it is. And you can see there's a spot for initials right in there. And I stitched this. Oh, let me look at my book. I stitched this on 40 count Heartland by Picture This Plus with all the called for threads. All the called for threads. So here it is. The only thing that's not on there is Gail's initials. And why is that? It's because I want her to stitch the initials on there. I will see her on February 5th, and she said she will bring her magnifier and stitch the initials on there. This was a super fun stitch. I enjoyed every minute. It's not super big. I can't remember, it's 100, let's see, 120 by 89. So it's not super big. All 12 of these, by the way, are samplers. They're all samplers. They are not reproductions. They are by Elma and Barb. This one was designed by Barb. And, you know, you can, you know, personalize them any way you want to. So there we go. There we go. So one finished, 11 to go. One finished, 11 to go. All right. So the next one that I'm starting, while we're talking about Abecedarian. Oh, and I started that January 1st and I finished that on the 22nd. All right. So about 3 weeks, obviously working on other things in between. So not bad, not bad. The next one I decided to start, and I don't know, I was just drawn to it. I guess I don't have a good reason, except that I was just drawn to it. And this one is called Forget Me Not. Forget Me Not. It has kind of these little pots with these beautiful little, I don't know if they're bluebells. I don't know if she really says in here if they're bluebells or what. I don't know. She doesn't really say. She doesn't really say, but they're cute little blue flowers. And so I've given that a start, and I am stitching this on, do I not have it written down? Oh, yes, I do. 40 count vintage country mocha. Now, I've run into a problem. Well, it's a problem for me. Might not be a problem for other people. The problem is I do not like the brightness. This is a Blue Jay by Gentle Art. To me, it's just too bright for my taste and for Blackbird colors. And so I contacted Carol. She has all the original threads from the original charts, and because she had ordered them as kits right away when they came out. And she said her old Blue Jay matches up to a DMC 334. So I'm going to be taking these out, and I'm going to be substituting the 334, which I think is a little more muted than this bright, bright Blue Jay. I have that here. I have these here. And you can see this Blue Jay is, yeah, it really is quite bright. There you go. It's a little too bright for me. Next time around, when I don't actually have the 334 here, my friend Gail's sending it to me, I'll put it side by side so you can kind of see the difference. The second one I didn't like either is this new Presidential Blue. This is like wowza in your face bright. Gail actually has an older version of Presidential Blue, which she's also sending to me, and I can put them side by side to show you. Hers is much more muted. So those are the two changes. Otherwise, these are the threads. There's not many threads to these. These are the threads otherwise, but those are the two changes that I'm going to be making on mine, which really is not changing colors. It's just the dye lots have changed, obviously. So yeah, I'm getting there on this one. I'm getting there. I truly enjoy it. These Abecedarians, I just love them. I just love them. I love them for a couple reasons. Number one, they're my colors. Number two, they're not super big and they're very doable. And I like to finish, so I like churning through. What am I going to do with them eventually? I don't know 100%, but I do like the idea of putting them on the wall because they were designed to fit together like a puzzle, and they look super cute all together on a wall. There are many walls in my house I could put it on. This is an old house that has many, many rooms in it. So I have plenty of wall space. So we'll see where I end up putting them and what I end up doing with them. But so far I'm having a load of fun doing them for sure. Okay, so the next thing that I finished is my red sampler. Now this harkens back to my last video where I told you I have been reading through Alma's old blog called A Stitch at a Time. A Stitch at a Time. It was back from, I think, 2009 or 10 for maybe 3 or 4 years. And I found this freebie. It's not listed on the blog under freebies. If you click the freebies, you're not going to see this one, okay? It's called, oops, let me grab it. It's called Petite Letters Rouge, which is, it's French, right? I don't know how to say that. Rouge. I think it just means red. But if you go, I wrote it down. Hang on a second. I know I have it here. Oh, here. I wrote it down here. If you go to her blog and you go to the post from April 14th of 2009, April 14th, 2009, there will be a link there for this pattern that you can download. And it's really fun. If you look on the blog, like the next couple posts, she will post pictures that all sorts of people sent into her. They use different colors, combinations. They put people's names in there. They put phrases in there. They did all sorts of things with it. I'm kind of boring. I just stitched it out as is. It is a reproduction. It is a reproduction. And the little girl's name is Alice Longins, and she was born in well, I don't know if she was born in 1918 or she stitched this in 1918. Whatever, something like that. I used Soie d'Alger, Avera Soie d'Alger. I never say that right. And I used 20, oh, did I write it down? Let me see if I put it, I think I did put it in my book. 20, 29, 24, and 29, 25. The pattern actually just calls for different reds. If you can see this, it says dark red, medium red, light red. I didn't have a medium, so I did dark and light. I kind of just made it up as I went. Dark and light, all over the place. That's how I did it. Obviously, do as you please. It could be any color. Red, blue, black, I don't know. Whatever you want. But here's how mine came out. And you know what? I'm gonna maybe use this book so you can see it better here. Here's how mine came out. I love it. I love it. I think it's an adorable pattern. One of the things I really like about it is that each side, each border is different. Obviously the outer border kind of unites it, but the inner border, each side is different, which I think is super cute. And so there she is, Alice de Longins, 1918. I started this January 1st along with my Abecedarian, and I worked on, I was pretty consistent. There was a couple mornings I didn't get to work on it, but I was fairly consistent with it, and I finished it on the 24th. So not bad, not bad. I'm happy with that. I looked in my stash. I have 4 other small red samplers that I've done. So this will make 5, and I'm going to show you the one that I'm starting. So that'll be 6. I feel with 6 that I could have a grouping somewhere. I have an idea on how I want to display them, but I'm not going to reveal that yet because I don't know if it's going to work out, and I need to find some frames. So I'm going to hold on that. I do have an idea, but just know this is my 5th small red sampler, and I'm going to start a 6th. When I get 6 done, I'm really going to move on trying to display them in my house. Whoops, I just dropped a bobbin. Sorry about that. Get a move on trying to display them. So let me move on to the one I'm going to start. I have wanted to start this forever and a day. I have an old sampler in Antique Needlework Quarterly. I have the disc that has all of them on there. This one, I don't know. I got secondhand somewhere. I don't even remember because I've had it so many years. And I've wanted to stitch this one right here on the cover forever. Finally, I said, Lisa, stitch it. Now's the time. And her name is Flora Dello, D-E-L-L-O-W. And it says December 8, 84, which I'm assuming is 1884, age 12 years old. And you probably can't see, but in between each line, there's a light ghosty bit of stitching there. And oh, did I not bring the threads? Darn, I picked 2 threads. I picked I think I picked Skinny Dip by Weeks Dye Works. I thought I had the threads here. And then I had the red. I picked, oh boy, Holly Berry by, I believe, Gentle Art. Oh, I'm so mad because I could have sworn I had could have sworn I had the threads here. I don't know what I did with them. I'm sure as soon as I turn off the video, I'll find them and say, oh, there they were. I don't see them. This is, I don't know if you can see this. This is Foxglove and Lace Linen, Hazel. Hazel, who dyes Foxglove and Lace Linen, sent me this a couple years ago. And it's 40 count, no, it's 38 count, sorry. And it's called Aged Paper. Aged Paper. So you do see a little bit of modeling in there, not a ton. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. And I know the red's going to look awesome on it. And I'm so sorry that I don't have the red to show you. That's very strange. Okay, well, sorry about that. Well, next time you'll see it stitched on the linen and I'll have to show you. But that's my next red sampler that I'm going to be starting hopefully today. And so let me get my list out. What's next? Oh, Sarah Fletcher. All right. Well, thank you, Brenda, for your advice on using the silks. I think part of my problem was I was going from 40 to 46 count. So that was kind of brand new. And then using the silks. I think what improved my use of these silks was doing each X separately instead of going half, half, half and coming back. So I've had a lot more success with it. I'll be honest, this month I only worked on Sarah Fletcher, I think 3 days, maybe 4. 3 to 4 days out of the whole month. So I haven't made a ton of progress, but I'll show you where I am on it. If you remember, Sarah is a Hands Across the Sea. Here she is. And I have all these motifs in there. I have the outer cartouche, these two, and I'm just starting the basket. So I'm not doing bad on it. Here we are. Oops, I have it upside down. Here we are. So here it is. Here it is. And you're going to ask, what fabric is it on? I have it listed here. It is on Wheat, which is by Fiber on a Whim. And it's all the called for 100.3 silks. So there you go. It's coming along. I've gotten a little bit more of the border done too. So I'm getting there. I'm getting there with it. I'm getting there with it. So yeah, so I think the silks, I think it's just a matter of me kind of getting used to them. I'm still going to say just my personal preference. I like the Soie d'Alger. I think because it acts a little bit more like a cotton. And probably just because I've been stitching with cotton all these years. The only other silks I ever tried before was the Soie d'Alger, which I did the red sampler in. I didn't have any problems with it. So I think it's just that acclimation. It's an acclimation, but they are beautiful. I mean, the colors are just amazing. They really, really are beautiful. So anyways, it's coming along. It's coming along. It's looking good. All right. What else do I have to tell you? The last thing, oh geez, we're over an hour. We're an hour and 2 minutes. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up soon. Last time I had showed you some finds that I got through my sister. I got to show you just a couple really quick things. One is a sewing, oh my goodness, it's so heavy. It's a sewing box, which I thought was like super cool. Look at this. It's in pretty good shape. It's in pretty good shape. I thought it was super cool. I wish I had a bigger sewing room. I have nowhere to put this stuff, to be honest. I want it out and looking at it, but I have nowhere to put it. It is stuffed with all sorts of like sewing related things. So I love it. I love it. I love the colors of it. I think it's just mega cool. Mega cool. And it's really in very, very good condition. So love it, love it. Thank you to my sister. And she also found some charts, some of which I'm going to keep and some of which I'm going to give away. One of my keepers is a very tiny Birds of a Feather called Love, and it's 41 by 59 stitches. I thought it was adorable and very folky. Now, whether I get to it this Valentine's or not, I'm not sure, but I just thought it was super cute, super cute. Birds of a Feather, Birds of a Feather. So that was one. Another was another edition of Sampler and Antique Needlework Quarterly. It's always lovely to have the actual magazine. Again, I have the CD, but I thought that was fun. And I haven't gotten a chance to look at this too much, but this was a library book called Creating Historic Samplers. And it's by Judith Grow and Elizabeth McGrail. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this one before. It seems to have it talks about samplers, and it has samplers in the back that people have created, and then it just has lots of sampler motifs in it for you to kind of create your own samplers, and gives lots of ideas and other such things. So I'll have to take a look at it and see what it's all about. But I thought, wow, wherever this came from, somebody's house, they must have been a sampler lover. So those items are keepers. And I didn't know if anybody, this is just a quickie giveaway. If anybody out there is a fan of Elizabeth's designs, I don't think she designs anymore. But here's a series of 3 of her designs. One is Bluebird Cottage. And that's one. The second one is Blue Sky Sampler. Oops, something's falling out of there. A free graph is falling out of there. Blue Sky Sampler. And then the third item is Sweet Spring Garden, which I actually thought that was very cute. Maybe because I like the darker colors. But if anybody is a fan of Elizabeth's designs, I know they're out of print because I don't think she designs anymore. So they're kind of out of printers. If somebody is interested in this, please put in the comment Elizabeth. And then the second one, I don't know if anybody out there is a fan of Judith Kirby and her Victorians, but there was a whole series of them. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. They're not real big. These are, oh, let me see, 110 by 80. So they're not super big. They're not like the massive ones. How cute is this? I didn't even notice this. That there is a lot of colors to these. She puts little holes in her charts for you to put your threads. Isn't that cute? I just noticed that. So anyways, I have 5 of them. This is house number 14. It looks like it's kind of a fall themed house, maybe Halloweenish, something like that. There we go. So house number 14, house number 15. This is definitely Halloweenish because there's trick-or-treaters out there. There we go. And house number 12. That's cute. And house number 13, I should have done these in order. House number 13 looks more wintry, Christmassy, I guess. And then house number 9, again, looks like it's a fall theme. It's got a pumpkin and a cat on it. House number 9. So if anybody's a fan of Judith Kirby's Victorians, I have 5 of her small ones. They're all small. None of these are very big. This one, let's see if I can see this one, is 110 by 80. I think they're all about that. So probably about the size of my Abecedarians. So, hey, maybe somebody collects these. I'm sure they're probably out of print. I'm happy to pass them on. So if anybody out there is interested, I know they're oldies. Both of these are oldies, but if anybody's out there interested, please put Victorian, I guess, singular if you want to, in the, in the comments. So there you go. I think I've talked enough. Yes, I have chatted up a storm. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your comments here on Flosstube and on Instagram. Look out February 1st for my Instagram and Michelle's Instagram for our Word of the Year journey. If anybody's interested in our fall retreat, there are still a couple spots left on my Instagram, not on my Instagram, on one of our designers' Instagram, Leanne Van Leyen from 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers. If you look on her Instagram, she put a sneak peek of her project. It looks fascinating. Check it out. Check it out. On my Instagram, my last post for Carol's Sunday Sampler postings was a little freebie from Leanne that is on her Instagram. So check that out if you want to do a little freebie called Georgiana. I should have brought it to show you guys. I don't know if I've shown it before or not. I didn't think to bring it. But it's one of my red samplers. When I get all 6 of them done, I'll show you at that point. But you can see it on my Instagram. So I hope you guys have an awesome upcoming few weeks to a month. I seem to come back about monthly, give or take, depending on my schedule. And I hope it's full of lots of creativity. Please share with me feel free to direct message me or send me pictures. I love seeing them. I love getting your ideas. Yeah, the interaction is just amazing. And I so appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have an awesome day, guys. See you later.